And Facebook, you should be able to see and hear both of us now. So, okay, so I was just talking about TDOR. If you aren't familiar with TDOR, this week, the 13th to the 19th, is Trans Awareness Week. And so it's an amazing time to just let people understand more about the community, to talk about all the amazing things that have to do with the trans experience, not just the heartbreaking part that comes with TDOR. TDOR was a day that is recognized on November 20th every year to remember all of the trans, non-binary, gender non-conforming, gender expansive folks that have been murdered in the United States. We have those days because in big ways the world doesn't pay attention to those lives that are lost, and so it's incredibly important for us to be able to come together, one, to mourn and spend time together, but also just to be community and to remember those people and say their names and make sure that their memories live on. Often those cases go uninvestigated. They aren't solved. If they are solved, they're often not prosecuted. And so it is so incredibly important for those of us that are part of the community, the LGBTQ, the queer community at large, to show up for the people of the trans experience, and also an incredibly important day for people of the trans experience to just be able to be in community and be together and support each other and remember these folks, because I have yet to have a person that was killed that we recognize on TDOR that I either don't know, or I know somebody who knows them, or they know somebody who knows them, because the community is just that small. But people's lives are lost at ridiculously disproportionate amounts compared to everybody else on the planet. So, you know, it's our job to remember those folks. And so now the one day on the 20th is expanded to a week. So it's not just about mourning, it's about celebrating the community celebrating themselves, us celebrating them. And then the 20th is a really tough day because it's incredibly sad. People recognize it in different ways. They recognize it in celebration of life, celebration kind of days. You know, folks of color, Black folks, that's what we choose to do is celebrate the lives of people opposed to so much mourning their loss. But also, again, being able to say every one of those names. So if you're not familiar with the numbers, it's wild and it's scary, and they are ridiculously high. They were lower. There was a incredible rise of hate crimes that happened in 2000, 2001. You can guess why. And so those numbers started to skyrocket. And in 2020 and 2021, the numbers were broken. The records were broken every single time, every single year, which is horrifying. And then the numbers started to come down a little bit. It's still one is too many, but the numbers were coming down. Education was getting better. The vibe of the country was changing a little bit at a time. A lot of the hateful rhetoric that was on the news every single day was changing a little bit. There were folks from the trans community that were reaching a level of stardom, celebrities that we didn't see prior. That brought awareness, it brought familiarity, it brought awareness of the issues regarding the community. And there were a lot of really hardworking folks at organizations doing the work to teach, to try to affect all the other socioeconomic factors that cause folks to even be in the position that they're suffering from, not just being murdered, but houselessness and poverty and lack of education and lack of employability and all of the things that happens when you live in poverty and when you're from a strategically marginalized group of individuals. And of course, this is something visited on the full trans community, but Black and brown folks always experience those things at an even greater level. So that is the long history of Trans Awareness Week and TDOR, in case this is the first time you're hearing about either one. But tonight we're here to talk to you about TRAII. Like I said, if you're joining me on TikTok, you can't see my good friend Winston, but you'll be able to hear him. And if you are joining us on Facebook, you will be able to do both. So, hey,
What up, y'all?
And if you would like to see Winston's face, you can also click over to Facebook and grab us there. So TRAII. So again, for 10, 15 odd years, I have been planning TDOR events, and it is an honor to be able to remember those folks and create space for my friends and family in the trans community to be able to do their thing, to build whatever they want to build, to honor those folks that we have lost, and to talk about the things that they face every single day. But this year we wanted to do something different. This year we wanted to do something that hopefully would impact the world in a way that less of those lives were lost, so that there would be less names to read off the next year. So I had worked on a project with a group out of my hometown of Rochester, New York. I'm in Florida now. Pray for me. And they were doing this amazing work. They were taking BIPOC kids, hood kids, and teaching them this incredible technology. I have a feeling that Winston is going to be the one to tell you about the actual technology in a little while.
I got you.
That is not my thing. But they were taking these kids and they were using geospatial technology and teaching them how to take data, collect it, be able to turn it into, so geospatial technology is basically maps. It's maps.
Right.
So they were able to take data. You flipped, right, Winston? Hey, you flipped. I'm looking at your kitchen.
Oh dang. It's a nice kitchen. I'm
Nice
flip back because I can't see my picture anymore.
Oh yeah, you flipped.
But you can see me though, right?
I can't see you now. I can see your living room chair and that red thing over it.
Okay, can you see me now?
Can you hear me now? Nope, sure can.
Okay, wait a minute.
Oh, now I can see you.
Now you can see me. Okay, good deal.
All right, so there was this group of, I worked on a project. I do consulting. I do DEI consulting, and I worked on a project with this gentleman out of Rochester, New York, and he was taking geospatial technology, which is basically maps, and collecting data and layering different socioeconomic factors over the top of it. So the project I had worked with him on was gun violence in a particular city. And so he was able to plot on that map all these places where someone's life had been lost to gun violence, and then layer over it like where schools were, where safe spaces were, where people lived. And so it told a story. You could see where, okay, this rec center is a safe space, but if I live at such and such street 10 minutes away, these are all the scenes of violent crime that I passed on my way there. So as we were trying to come up with what we could do that was different this year, in recognition of TDOR, and maybe do something to make people safer, contacted him and his organization to see if perhaps they could take data about the trans folks that have been murdered and use this geospatial technology to do something similar, but for the whole entire country. So from those conversations, the TRAII, TRAII, was born. It stands for Trans Remembrance Archive and Information Index. So we took data that we collected from, because this data is out there, right? It exists. Like it exists in the world. It's on lists, it's in articles, it's on media, all of the things, but it's usually articles or lists. It doesn't tell the story in the same way as this incredible technology that they developed does. So you can go into this tool, which lives at blackout.com/TRAII, BLAQUEOUT.com/TRAII. You go in and you scroll down, and basically it'll give you a map of the country. And on the map is plotted every single trans person, non-binary person, gender expansive person, gender non-conforming person that we could find through our research that had been unalived in the past 6 years. And for one, it's striking, right? Like, just there's something different between seeing a list of things and seeing it plotted out on a map. Um, it's shocking, even those of us who know the numbers and know how high they are, it is shocking to see it plotted on a map. And it's I don't know, shocking is the only word I can think of. It's shocking, it's dramatic, it is there for you to see. Once you click on any of those points, a profile of that person that corresponds with that dot will pop up. It'll show you their name, their age, what happened to them, if there was a conviction or arrest in their case, and a link to be able to link to either a media story about them, an HRC profile about them, because HRC does amazing work to collect a lot of this information and catalog it so you can look up people's names and pictures. So one, we hope that all these folks for all these years, stories will be kept alive because of this resource, because now they aren't just a dot on a map, they aren't just a name on a list, they aren't just a number. I worked with one family as in chosen family, of an individual that had been murdered in Mississippi. And one thing that will stay with me forever is that one of his friends told me, who he called his brother, that he was number 39 that year. And it was so painful to him that he had been reduced to 39. That was all over the media. 39, 39. He was number 39, and he wasn't 39. He was Mel, and he was important, and he was his brother and his friend and his family. And so we hope that this tool allows people to be more than just, points on a blotter, or points on a map, or a name on a list, or a number, as so often people get reduced to be. You can read these stories, you can look at these folks' pictures. We hope at some point to be able to add the stories of people that knew them to each one of these profiles too, so they're even more than the information that is currently on there. But then, besides having these points plotted on these maps, you have the ability to layer different features. So you could pick a year, like you could click just a very simple checkbox of 2018, and it'll show all the folks from 2018. You can layer 2018 to 2020 and show all those folks. You can layer 2021 to 2024, whatever, to be able to show the different areas, the different ages, the different gender identities of these individual people. Again, I don't even know if I can comment on lives I don't go on here enough to be able to tell. I don't think you can. But I want you to know that this is at blackout.com, TRAII. So BLAQUEOUT.com/TRAII. Go see it. Go look at it. Go use it. Go try it. But you can layer these different factors. You also, there's a map that slides with an arrow that shows a density map. So you can see the hotspot areas of where around the country these different incidents are in high concentration. I know that a lot of us, with the election happening, we are considering where we live, and where we are traveling to, and where is safe and where isn't. This is a tool for you to be able to go in and look where you're going to see the density, the concentration of people's lives have been taken, to add to your consideration factors of where you might go. And interestingly, we have heard from a doctor that some of these high density areas have other factors that are also true about those areas that mirrors it, like HIV diagnosis rates higher in those high density areas. And I bet the more very smart people who take a look at this tool will find even more factors that are in common, but that's kind of the point, right? It gives you the ability to find those commonalities between folks, to find what areas need more resources. And so part of the reason, like we said, that we created this thing was to be able to have representation, but like, what do you do with that? Each of us individuals can go on and look at this thing, and I think it matters. I think it's important for everybody to see it and know it and not pretend like it's not happening, for one. But like, what do you do with it? If you are an activist, if you are an organizer, if you run an organization, if you are looking for funding, this tool is something that you can go in and use to aid you as a resource in that process. If you are going to lobby politicians, we just got a whole lot of new politicians in there that need to understand what's going on. Some people don't care, but some people also just don't know. And so this is an opportunity for you to pull out your laptop and pull out this tool and let them see. You could put the address where they're sitting in that very moment and enter it into that map and show all of the people around them for the last 6 years who have lost their lives. So when they tell you that this doesn't matter, or it's not important, or it's not something that resources need to go to, you have a visual 3D in front of you representation of these statistics that are a lot more meaningful than any of us just saying them out loud. You can argue with a person, you can't argue with numbers. And so the reason why we are trying so hard to get this information out is because we want this to work for you. We're not making no money off of this. We're not trying to get famous from it. I promise you we ain't gonna get rich off of it. It's literally just designed to be a resource for all of us in the community that are doing this work, which is going to become more and more important as the seconds tick on, to have something to help you do that work. Even if you need to have conversations with your family members, this is something that you can, a link that you can send them to help them better understand the things that you face every day. But again, if you run an org, if you are doing organizing and you are looking for funding, you can print out these maps. You can send these same links to your funders to talk about how incredibly important it is in your area to be able to, excuse me, to be able to do the work that you're doing. We hope that law enforcement starts to pay attention to this tool, because there are so many unsolved cases on these maps. And, you know, to be able to say, you know, this suspect lived in Milwaukee in 2018 where all these people were killed, but they also moved to LA in 2020 where all these other people got killed. Like, who knows what connections can be made there? The developer who worked on this project with us actually said there's a highway that he found while plotting all of these things on the map that that shows there's a tremendous amount of these incidents that happen along the same corridor highway that goes from like the East Coast, west and south. And you know, there might be 5 different detectives in 5 different areas investigating the same person and don't even realize, because obviously law enforcement has this information, but one, whether they're willing to do the footwork to put it together is a thing. But also, you know, these folks are misgendered, their stories are misreported. It might not even be setting off those alarm bells that are so important that you need to be able to make connections. I don't know if y'all watch as much crime TV as I do, but that's how those big cases get solved. Somebody all of a sudden decides to take another look and realizes that somebody missed something from somewhere or happens to hear about something and starts putting those connections together. So 1, it'll keep you informed. 2, we hope it'll keep you safer. 3, we hope it'll help get you money to do your work. 4, we hope that it'll allow you to be able to talk to politicians and lobbyists, local, state level, federal level, that you have an ear with, and be able to show them something that's meaningful. Not that it should have to be more meaningful than it existing, but this is the world that we live in. TikTok, when we get off, I will add the link to this video in case you're not catching the address when you are joining on. Winston already added it on Facebook. So again, this is a resource. Blackout TRAII is a resource. That's what it's for. We are trying desperately to get the word out, so please share this live. Please share,
Share and share
share, and share,
and share.
and share. I don't even care if you like it. Just share it, because it doesn't work unless people use it. The other thing that I think is amazing about this tool is there's underneath it on the webpage, there's actually an ability for you to leave a note. So say you are one of those folks that has a family member or friend that passed and was misgendered or just never made the national news that their life was taken. And so they didn't get attached to this database, like to the HRC resource. It never got reported correctly in the news because the media, they just take whatever the police departments give them and they run whatever they run. Send us that information because we are happy to research every last one of those stories and add them to this database. If you have a personal story about one of these people, send it to us so we can make them human. We can tell their story. They're more than just a statistic. They deserve more than that. And that's really, truly one of my favorite things about this thing because it can continue to grow and grow. The more y'all put into it, it would be an incredible blessing if we don't have to add one more name from here moving forward. But I know there has to be so many stories of people out there that have not been told. And, you know, even HRC, like they choose based on their own criteria who makes their list. Ours is more expansive than that. If it's a questionable death, if it's still a death that's under investigation, like it can go up there. So this is a living, breathing document, and the more you add to it, the more, the bigger and the better and the more real it'll get. We owe them that. We owe them that. Like, we owe them that. Winston, you got anything for me? I feel like I'm talking a mile a minute.
Right? I was like, I'm just gonna let you do your thing, and when you hit tap in, then I was gonna tap in. Um, for somebody who's not techie, you actually explain the technical part of the
I
tool
explain it for people who are also
pretty
not
well, right? I believe it's simple. Like, if you could simply understand how to use the thing, then you're more likely to use it if you can understand its application and how it works, right? So, like, the technology is the same technology, partly that they use in GPSs. So, I get ready to go somewhere, I put the address in, it tells me where to go, and on the way to go in there, it tells me where the gas station is or where the local store is along my route, right? It's the same kind of thing. We collect the data, put it into the system, and then it generates the map, which lets you know, as Tam has said, where these instances of violence happened. The great thing I also love about the tool is that it also tells the story of the people that we have lost, right? Down to if someone was arrested, were they charged, um, were they convicted, were they let go, that kind of thing. So even in those even in those areas where you can see if you need to be paying more attention to law enforcement and their attitude towards these type of crimes. In the 60s, they had the Green Book. So they had this book for African American people to tell them where you should not be after dark, places you could stop, places you shouldn't stop, places you should be weary of, and places you should just altogether avoid. And this tool has that kind of application. These places are not safe for us. These places I need to be aware of. I might just not even want to go this place, right? And like I've said before, and I've said it over and over again, like we are being murdered, and um the numbers are insane. But it's one thing for me to say that to you, but it's another thing for me to be able to show you that, right? It helps with those arguments that we need funding for this, or we need this, or we need to be paying more attention to this. When I can show, no, like Tam said, numbers don't lie. You can say a lot of things, but if I can show you that's basically what the tool does. It shows you the patterns. Where's the highest rate of these crimes being committed? How do they correlate? Um, where do we need to have um more attention to, right? What parts of the state do we need to be paying more attention to? And especially in the climate in which we are entering, right? We need to be hyper vigilant about where we need to be showing up and how loud our voices need to be in every area, but some of these areas most definitely more than others, right? And so I'm excited about the the opportunity for another tool that allows us to not only um show honor to the memory of those that we have lost, but also to be able to um use our voices to hopefully that we don't have to have these continue to have these conversations, right? And so that's basically the tech part about it. You're gonna put the data in the tool, right? Y'all gonna put your information in, it's gonna do its thing, and then it's gonna come out in a map to show you where, what, when, how, basically.
Easy as that. So for TikTok, in case you couldn't hear Winston as well, the purpose of the TRAII tool is to be able to show you all the places, the cities, the exact addresses, or neighborhoods where people of the trans experience, non-binary, gender expansive, gender nonconforming folks, where they have lost their lives due to violence. It is a absolute crisis in this country, and it gets the least amount of attention of any crisis in this country that I'm aware of. This TRAII tool that we introduced for Trans Awareness, Trans Remembrance Month, the entire purpose is to be able to use a map system that was developed for us where you can go in, look at the whole map, and see every single one of the dots from every single one of these people from 2018 to current. Click on a dot, their story pops up. You can learn more about them. You can learn what happened to them. You can learn more about their lives, their age, their gender identity. You can read their stories. You can click to links that tell you more about the story, or click to media coverage about their story, all to just help keep these folks' memory alive, but also hopefully to get their murder solved.
Yep.
It will help you to understand where different things happen. And the thing about it is, the stuff you will learn will shock you. We have this idea that all of these deaths happen down south. Not so. When you look at the map, you can see one of the maps is a density map. So you can see where there's the highest concentration of people. So there's a whole lot in Florida, there's a whole lot in Texas, but there's also a whole lot in Pennsylvania. And that's important to know. That's important to know where things are happening and that they're happening. It's important if you have friends that are out there, especially that are, living the kind of lives they need to live to support themselves because they don't have other options, or because that's where they choose to be, because that's where they're safe, they feel safest and most comfortable. Being able to inform them of what to be careful of, and where to travel and where not to travel is important. So many folks that are killed from our communities are not named. They are dead named. They're just John Does. Nobody knows who they are. Like, you may go on this map and find people that you have been looking for that you didn't know what happened to them. And that's a sad discovery to make, but just the fact that they've been found matters. But the biggest purpose for us in creating it is really to be able to provide another resource for organizations, and for activists, for organizers, to be able to use this as a tool to help lobby with, to help talk to folks out in the community, at town halls, to politicians, to lobbyists, when you're going to your capital to talk to folks on lobby days, having this tool that you can pull out on your laptop that you can push in front of them and they can interact with on their own, to explore and look through. You can send this link. That page is on our blackout.com website, but it's an individual linked page. So you can literally send that link directly to your funders when you're trying to get more funding for your organization. You can send that link to family members who don't understand why you're so upset about this election. You can send it to, you can post it on social media when you're talking and trying to educate folks. So we're not going to keep you all night. But again, this tool only works if people use it. So we wanted to take every opportunity we possibly could for y'all to be able to understand what it's for, what it does, how important it could be to your life and the work that you do as an individual, as part of an organization, as an organizer, as an activist, as law enforcement, all of the things. All of the things.
All of the things.
And as you go to Trans Awareness Week gatherings, as you step into TDOR gatherings on the 20th, take this information with you. Please, please, please take this link with you. Blackout.com/TRAII, TRAIIBLAQUEOUT.com/TRAII. Take it with you and talk to folks about it. Again, this is something that you can put up on a projector, attached to a laptop, and project on a wall, so people can interact with it and see it on their own and use it. It is so, honey, if I can navigate it, and a 3-year-old can navigate it. So it's super user friendly. It's very easy to understand, but it's an opportunity for us to have another tool in our arsenal, and baby, we need it more right now than ever.
Absolutely.
So go on, try it, talk to folks about it, share it far and wide, because these are the little cheat codes that we're going to need to get through this next 4 years.
Definitely. And I just want to say before we get off, like, in thinking in terms of right now, right? Like, this also can be part of the conversations about, because we need to create safe plans for our community, right? And so this is part of that conversation about what do we do as a community to create safe plans as we move around in these areas where because you might live in the area in Pennsylvania, or the area in Florida, or the area in Texas, or wherever, right? And so what do we as a community, what's our safe plan? How are we, gonna navigate moving around in the world? Because we need to be talking about that. That needs to be something that's discussed. How are we going to protect ourselves, right? So this is one of the things that helps in having that conversation. So the murders are high in this area. So you know, we moving in groups, four of us at a time going here or there, or you know what I'm saying? What numbers are we calling to let them know where we gonna be at? Like those kind of things. Like we got to move way smarter, and this is one of the things to help us move in that way. So just something to put on your brain.
That's right.
We should not want to share information and resources. Absolutely, Harris. We definitely should network and share information. That was one of the things when I was interviewing one of the workers on this tool, was that when they were using this technology in Rochester to show where the different pockets of violence were happening, it was like one area of people had this information, and one area of people had that information, and because they weren't connected or talking to one another, they didn't know they were talking about the same situation. So it's absolutely imperative that we share information and resources.
That's a fact. I was at a trans awareness get together last night that was put on by My Trans Network in Florida, and the overwhelming main main thing that came out of the conversation is that the only way we're going to get through this is through, and the only way that we are going to be able to make it is community, being able to turn in, to lean into our community, to take care of each other, to pool resources. It's how we're going to make it through this thing. It's the only way we're going to make it through this thing.
Yeah.
So this is just another, like I said, another one of those things to stick in, Dora's backpack for the journey.
Yes.
But we need it. We got to have it. And we implore, beg, plead, ask, implore you to go take a look at it, learn how to use it. And look, I'm trying so hard to concentrate because I'm trying to write backwards.
Hey,
That is not
and if y'all got questions on how to use it, y'all can hit us in the DMs.
Oh, I
Hey,
did it.
whatever, you know what I'm saying? Whatever you need to be able to use the tool, access it. Yo, hit us up. You got questions? Hit us up. Like me, more for the tech part of things, the example. But
Stop.
we got
Yes,
you. Like
God. Talk to Winston.
hey, the more people who have eyes on this, who are using this, that are talking about this, the better, because it is a tool for us, for our community. And like I said before, we cannot be spectators. We have to be participants in our freedom, our survival, our we have to be participants. And for us, by us is not just a slogan. It's it's about to be a way of life, right? If it ain't already a way of life for you, it's about to be a way of life for you. Like, better catch that free game I'm giving you, yo. It's imperative that we use all the tools in the toolbox for the journey, because it's gonna be what it's gonna be. But as long as we have one another, and we lean into um the tools in the arsenal, we gonna be all right.
We are. And this is free. You don't hear that
Free.
before. Ain't no
Everybody
catch.
like free.
Ain't no catch. You don't got to sign up for nothing. You don't have to register. None of the things. This is free 99. Just click on it, learn how to use it, and the most important thing is share it with your community, your network, the orgs that you work with, the people that you know. Talk about it. 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 Because it's only gonna work if we use it. So again, www.blackout.com/TRAII. Go check it out. Thank you.
Check it out right now. Right now. Check it out right now. Go click it right now.
And y'all have an amazing, despite all of the things that are going on, y'all have an amazing Trans Awareness Week. It's important. We have to find joy where we can find joy. So go find your joy. Thank you. Bye.
Y'all be easy.